Well, good Friday morning, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is October 7th, 2022, 7:41 a.m., and this is The Takeoff. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Week 5 of the NFL started last night in Denver, where the Indianapolis Colts and Matt Ryan went and traveled to see the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson, both quarterbacks new to their teams. If you don't have Amazon Prime, and that's where Thursday night games are now for the national televised games, you're lucky. This was probably the most boring game that I've ever sat through. Basically, no touchdowns in the whole game. It was a 12-9 game, which was seven field goal game, 4 interceptions, I believe, all by Russell Wilson, sacks galore. Um, a point in the game where Russell Wilson threw a pick late, reminiscent of the Super Bowl years ago against the Patriots, to the point where when overtime was starting, Denver fans were actually walking out. And, things are just not good there. You thought Russell Wilson going to Denver, getting out of Seattle, would be a fresh start. It's still only week 5. I think they're 2-3 now, but a rough beginning there. Indy needed this win too because they had that tie week 1. So in a nutshell, 12-9. Indy won the toss, kicked the field goal in overtime. Denver then got the ball in overtime, and a touchdown wins it. A field goal ties it, and continues overtime. They got 2 big gains. They got into the red zone. And on 4th and goal, they go for it. They don't go for the tie. They go for the win, which, you could say, oh, well, the Giants went for 2 and went for the win. And Russell Wilson's pass that batted down, and they lost. In this league where 17 games is so vital, they are right now, the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos have completed more than a quarter of their season. Wins need to be come by, and you got to take advantage of the situation. If you're 0-4 and you want to go for the win, you go for the win. At this point, when you're still able and you're still basically in the run in October, this early in the season, you put the points on the board, you put your defense back out there, and you try to hold the Colts down. Ryan was 26-41 for 251 yards, 2 INTs. I'm watching NFL Network now, just getting some of the rundowns. So that was last night's game. This weekend, first of all, if you're a New York sports fan, this weekend is just, the next 7 days are just amazing. Next 7 days plus can be amazing. So it starts off tonight where the New York Mets will begin their postseason with the wild card. I'm sorry, I'm a little stuttery this morning. I'm trying to catch up to everything. Playing the San Diego Padres. This is the first time they're doing this format in the major leagues for the playoffs. So the wild card, the team that hosts it has home field throughout. So it's the best 2 out of 3. All 3 games were played at Citi Field, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay? So after you have your Friday start tonight with the Mets and your Saturday start tomorrow night with the Mets, and for you Met fans, you want them to at least be 1-1, if not have wrapped up the series by that. You wake up Sunday morning at 9:30 and you have the Giants and the Packers in London. So you go from Friday, Saturday, all baseball. First thing Sunday morning, after you go to church or whatever you do on Sunday, you got Packers and the Giants. Giants coming off a win. They're 3-1. They're really beat up. I don't know what the quarterback situation is. I think Daniel Jones may be playing, but they're facing a Green Bay Packer team who almost lost to the Patriots on their third-string quarterback, but an Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packer team. And they're in London, so you got them at 9:30. At 1 o'clock now, us Jet fans, we have the Jets in Miami. Miami coming off the loss on Thursday night against the Bengals. They have a 10-day rest period, but they're also without Tua, their quarterback. It'll be Teddy Bridgewater, who I have to say I read about his press conference before practice this week, and he kind of praised the Jets and said the Jets gave him a second chance in his career and then moved him on. So you have Teddy Bridgewater. Late news last night, Tyreek Hill and another one of the receivers, I believe, have tweaked groins. Um, I mean, so that may just slow Tyreek down to normal speed, what normal speed is. But this game is there for the taking, and I'll get into that a little bit later. After the 1 o'clock game, 4 o'clock, I mean, if you're into the NFL, you're going to watch the other national teams that they're going to be playing. You have the Sunday night football game, Sunday night, obviously. And for you Met fans, if the series and the Mets wrap it up in two, you have game three, elimination game, winner take all on Sunday. Monday, you got Monday Night Football. I know that has nothing to do really with the Jets or the Giants. I'm not sure who's playing Monday night, so I don't want to really say it may not affect the Jets. I have to check the schedule. And let me check that while we're doing this here. But then Tuesday, you have, I believe, the divisional round of the playoffs, and that's where your Yankees will begin. So the Yankees play Tuesday night, I believe, divisional round, and possibly the Mets. Now, I don't know if the Mets, if they advance, if they start Tuesday, if they start Wednesday. They haven't gotten that far advanced to announce, only because of the teams that they'll be playing. So Monday night, let's take a look. Let's see, Sunday. So the Sunday night game, Cincinnati at Baltimore. Monday night, Vegas at Kansas City. So AFC games, AFC North, all three out of the four AFC North teams will be playing Sunday night and Monday. Tuesday night, also, the New York Rangers open up regular season. And for Ranger fans that listen, they made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They were up 2-0. They had a 2-0 lead, I believe, midway through the second period of Game 3, and didn't win a game since then. But if you're a Ranger fan, you want to believe that they take the next step. Islanders, they will start on Thursday. The Islanders, of course, made some changes last year, but for the next week or so, you have every night a major sporting event for the New York teams, just about. Monday is an off day for baseball and for football, but it kicks up Tuesday, then hockey kicks in. So the next 7 days, next 10 days can be really, really good. You could have the Giants in 4-1. You could have the Jets battling for first place if everything falls the right way. And I won't get ahead of myself. But that's where we are now. Some good news. Dwayne Brown has been taken off the injured list. He is a game time decision, I think, at this point. He hasn't been ruled out. He hasn't been ruled to play. He has been practicing. Also, Wednesday, Zach Wilson was listed as limited in practice. He has an ankle injury. Coach Sala and LaFleur played it down, said that he did what he had to do. Of course, some of the beat reporters were like, he's not coming out. He's not with the quarterbacks. He was in the training room. He warmed up in the training room. I guess he was getting treatment. But Zach is going to be the starter Sunday. And that's what we get. So the Jets come home after being down double digits in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go and are 2-2. They get through the AFC North at 2-2. I had them going 1-3, and they're facing Miami. Miami Dolphin Jets have always been one of those grudge matches, one of those rivalries. And for the youngsters, you look at the Patriots Jets. Patriots Jets have only been since '97, when Parcells kind of got out of his contract with the help of Leon Hesse, came over to the Jets. And the Jets took Parcells and Belichick, and then Belichick went back to the Patriots in 2000. So that soap opera, that went from 97 on, because prior to Brady, the Patriots had two appearances in the Super Bowl. 86 against the Bears, 85 against the Bears, and they didn't have a shot. And then 96 with Parcells, and Parcells kind of was halfway out the door. He didn't even fly home with the team after the Super Bowl. So the Patriots weren't relevant basically before that. They didn't have Gillette Stadium. They had the old Foxborough Stadium with the benches. And then, them old logo, which they're going to be playing with this week, I think it's called Pat the Patriot or Pete the Patriot. So the rivalry, from what I can remember, has always been, for the most part, Jets Dolphins, and then in the '80s, it went to Jets Dolphins, Jets Bills, because the Bills in the mid '80s to the '90s had that fantastic run. So I remember that being a big matchup, a divisional matchup. You always wanted to beat them. For those of you old enough, um, you can remember the Mud Bowl. Don Shula, the coach of the Dolphins, the night before the AFC Championship game in the Orange Bowl, torrential rain did not cover the field. He did that to slow down the Jets' speed with Reed McNeil and Wesley Walker. We call it the A.J. Dewey game. I believe he had 4 interceptions or 2 interceptions, 2 for touchdowns. I forgot what it was. I'm sorry. It was 2 interceptions for the A.J. Dewey. I believe they lost 14-0 to Jets, and the Dolphins went on to the Super Bowl and lost to, I believe, the Washington Redskins or the 49ers that year. Then, as time progressed, and Shula, they said, always had a bad taste about the Jets because the Jets beat his Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. You had Marino, the Marx brothers with Duper and Clayton. You had the the game with the shootout. Excuse me, Kenny O'Brien and I believe it was I forgot. I think it was Dan Marino. I'm not sure who the quarterback was. I'd have to look it up. In '86, yeah, I think it was Marino. Where I'm actually sitting at a Met game, and I'm not a Met fan, but I went with a friend, had press box seats. The Mets had just clinched the NL East a few days earlier. So you're at a Shea Stadium, a cold, late September day, Sunday afternoon. And at this point, the Jets are 2 years removed from Shea Stadium. So you still have a lot of Jet fans there. And the Diamond Vision out in left center field keeps showing scores. It has Jets up, Dolphins up, Jets tied, Dolphins tied. To the point where the game went so long that the Met game ended. I'm in the car. My parents are driving me home with my friend because at that age I didn't drive, and we have the Jet game on, and you hear Wesley Walker catches the tying touchdown pass, and then Wesley Walker catches the winning touchdown pass in overtime, and I think both teams combined for like 13 touchdowns, over 700 yards of offense. I mean, it was just amazing. So that's my first real, other than the Mud Bowl, recollection of the Jets and the Dolphins. Um, Time progressed. I start watching the team and following more, and I get to see Marino play in person. And, he's always beaten the Jets. If you remember, the Jets in Miami, um, the field goal kicker missed an extra point. Bruce Coslet was the head coach of the Jets. Pete Carroll, then defensive coordinator for the Jets, and not many people remember that, did the choke sign because the kicker didn't hit it, and Jets wound up losing the game anyway. Later on, I think they lost in overtime. You got 91, where the Jets go into Miami, into back then Joe Robbie, and they have the tiebreaker. They beat Miami. They go into the wild card. Game goes back and forth. Marino scores a touchdown with, I want to say, less than 2 minutes left, maybe less than a minute left in regulation. The Jets go downfield. They had just signed Raul Allegre, the former Giant. He hits from 40-something yards to tie it, and then he hits in overtime to win it, and the Jets beat the Dolphins, and they make the playoffs. You have the infamous fake spike game. That was November 27th, 1994. I'll never forget it. It was the day after my birthday. And I can remember walking into the stadium and the buzz that was around the stadium and sitting there, and the Jets were up big. Boomer Esiason could do no wrong. The Jets were up big. And I remember the guy in front of me saying to me, I can't believe we're going to be in first place after this game. Well, a few interceptions later, a few mental breakdowns later, a few defensive breakdowns later, Dan Marino, fake spike, and he hits his receiver. They win. Actually, the Jets had a chance to come back and blew it late. But what I can remember on that is everybody froze, and my father kept saying, he has timeouts. He's not going to spike the ball. Why would he spike the ball? He has timeouts. And lo and behold, he didn't spike it. He faked it. He threw the ball to the right corner end zone. Aaron Glenn, I said Aaron Judge. Aaron Glenn, then a rookie, um, was just standing there, reacted late. I think two defensive linemen only reacted on the snap of the ball, and Jets lost. And that was, from that point on, the beginning of the heartbreak. Um, and then there were some other games, like it was like a Bubby Brister game in the rain when the Jets won like 7-6 and on and on and on. And then you get to the Monday Night Miracle. And I remember the Monday Night Miracle for many reasons. Um, First reason was the night before, it was the Clemens Piazza showdown in the World Series, game 2. And I can remember watching that, and then the next night was the Monday Night Miracle, and I'm outside, and QVC is doing their NFL shop from outside, and Roger Clemens, I believe, was one of their guests. And I'm in the parking lot, and Roger Clemens walks by me to go in, and somebody screams out, "Roger, next time throw the bat 2 inches more to the right." So obviously, I go into that game. I'm sitting there with the the usual suspects. Excuse me, my father and excuse me, and I think went down 17-3 at one point. I mean, Dolphins just had an answer for everything. Now I'm at the game, and I obviously don't know what's going on in the broadcast, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's going to be running for governor of California, is a special guest, and he predicts that this fellow Wayne Krebet, and if you go to YouTube, you can probably find the clip, is going to catch the winning touchdown. You watch, the Jets are going to come back. Before the fourth quarter started, the Jets were down, I believe, 30-13. And I would have a ritual sometimes. If I didn't want to be sitting there, I'd go in the back and I'd stand there and watch the game from the back, from the back of the tunnel. And with 30 to something, the seats were empty. People were leaving. The radio guy, Bob was using, I believe said it. I think it was Bob was using. Um, the Jet fans are headed to the doors. Jason Taylor, who most people remember as a Jet also from 2010 season, he's waving to the fans, saying goodbye to them. He's talking to his quarterback. They're not coming back on us. They're not coming back. Bye, Jet fans, and he's waving. And little by little, Vinny Testaverde goes into a no huddle, calling his plays at the line, and Lavernius Coles comes down with a spectacular catch. And then I think one of the tight ends comes down with a catch. And then they're down by 10 at this point. And I go back to my seats, and there's really nobody there. Really, there's and the guy next to me turns out to be a DJ, and we're talking. He was just sitting there, and there's maybe now from 70,000 people, there's maybe about 40,000, 50,000 people there. And I'm sitting there, my father and the guy next to us, and his friend and his Dolphin fans, and they kind of, we've never been in this this area before where there's going to be this comeback, and Testaverde takes a step, and Krebet runs this incredible route into the end zone. And Testaverde throws the ball back shoulder, but Krebet, when he runs the route, is facing the opposite way. And he turns and jumps into the end zone that was sitting at and makes a spectacular catch. It comes down, and the game is tied. And it's like, wow, I can't believe this. And the place is going berserk. People are coming back from the from the parking lot, trying to get into the gate again. Okay, people are on the turnpike pulling over. So we're sitting there, and you're like, all right, we have the momentum. The Jets kick off. The Dolphins get the ball back, and they throw a bomb, and boom, Dolphins score a touchdown right off the bat, and they got the lead again. And it's like, what's going on? We after being down by double digits. I mean, over probably I think it was a 20-point deficit in the fourth quarter. I got to check. And Testaverde made, just complete just about every pass he made. We're going to lose this game. We're gonna, the Jets get the ball back down by 7. They go downfield, and Richie Anderson was the big target. He was just catching everything underneath. Krebet, um, you know, and Jets get inside, the 5, and they try to run with Martin, and they can't do it. And you always hear about, so and so's eligible, so and so's eligible. I've never seen it used. I'm sitting there, end zone in front of us, and Testaverde fakes the handoff. He looks and he just lofts this pass, probably lofted it about 8 feet in front across him, probably 5 feet off the ground, or 6 feet off the ground, and the ball just hung there forever. And there's big Jumbo Elliott, big mitts. It hits him. He dives. He's bobbling it. It probably took him like 40 seconds. That's what it felt like for him to hit the ground, and he's cradling it. They call it a touchdown on the ground. They call it a touchdown on the field. They review it. We're all looking at it. And at this point, I'm like, I don't know. He was bobbling it. But back then, the completion rule was a little different. But he did cradle it, never hit the ground. He got it. Touchdown. John Hall hits the extra point. We go to overtime. We kick off. Dolphins have the ball. And back then, overtime was sudden death. It wasn't, both teams get the ball. If the other team, you know, um, whatever it was, whatever the rules are now. Um, and I forgot who picked it off, but the Jets pick off the ball. And as he's running down the field, he gets hit and he fumbles, and the Dolphins get the ball back. And they're almost at midfield. And I'm like, ugh, that was our shot. What are the chances? And the Dolphins are moving the ball a little bit more. And same play, I think it was Marcus Coleman, picks him off again. And this time he gets him to about midfield. The Jets make a few plays. They get in the field goal range, and it was like a 40-something yarder into the end zone that we were standing at. And John Hall kicks it, and they win. Um, and the Jets, pull off the upset. Um, and it was just an amazing game to be at. Um, I didn't get home till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning that night. We had some car trouble as well in the parking lot. Um, and I remember the next day, my father and I had to go to the bank to do something with an account, and I'm wearing my colors. And the woman said, "Oh, my husband was at the game last night." And we're like, "Oh, we were there." And she said, "Oh, I bet you left early." I said, "Nope, we saw everything." She's like, "You saw the whole game?" And I said, "We stayed. We were there." Um, so that was just one of the memories I have is playing the Dolphins. Playing the Dolphins is always it's a rivalry. It's the AFC East division. Um, even when you go down to Miami, you have a lot of relocated New York fans. So you'll get a lot of Jet fans at the Miami games. You can get a lot of Miami fans up here too. And there have been Miami fans because there was always that Marino connection. Everybody liked Marino. Um, growing up, and they had the Marino jersey, so you had some Dolphin fans up here. So, of course, over the years, the Jets and Dolphins play each other each year. Um, and you had the Jets, after Don Shula, you had Jimmy Johnson, you had Dave Wannstedt. Um, and there's just a history there. So Sunday, was another piece of this history, another piece of this rivalry. Both teams trying to get atop the AFC East. Right now, Buffalo's up there. Buffalo's playing New England. You know, I believe it's New England. Buffalo should walk all over New England. Are they playing New England? I see. Now I got to look because I'm doubting myself. So my mistake. Buffalo is playing the Steelers in Buffalo. The Patriots are home against the Lions. So both winnable games. I think the Buffalo has more of a chance to win than New England. Detroit, can give New England a run for their money, but I never, you know, underestimate a Bill Belichick led team. So Jets have more weapons back this week. They're coming off a nice win. Zach gets another full week of practice. Um, they're beat up a little bit. The Dolphins are beat up a little bit. The Jets do have a shot to win this game. I think they can take this game. I know people said that about the Bengal game, but the Dolphins are not at the Bengals level right now. The Dolphins are building, and I think losing Tua. Listen, Terry Bridgewater is a very good quarterback. He can lead this team, um, but I think losing Tua, which you were building around, hurts them. And Tyreek Hill being a little tweaked up um, can level the playing field a little bit. And I think that's where we are. We'll see Sauce hopefully playing Tyreek. Um, Maybe we can get to Bridgewater. Um, we got to Trubisky last week. We had some turnovers last week. And LaFleur did open the playbook more last week than he did for when Flacco was in. I'd like to see that even more now, get the running game going. And I think the Jets win this game. So what I want to do now is first go through my NFL picks. And I went 3 for 4 last week. I didn't bet on them, but I went 3 for 4. So we're going to start in Jacksonville. Houston Texans getting 7 in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville wins this game 23-16. Um, I think it's a push. 7 points. If you want to take, if it's more than 7, I think you go with Houston. I think Jacksonville wins outright. Atlanta getting 10 plus for versus Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. Oh, the soap opera that has become Tom Brady and Giselle. The one thing he never did throughout his whole career is you never heard of any drama in the um, personal life of him. Yes, he had, those viral videos with his kids and him getting drunk after the Super Bowl and throwing the trophy and all that. But you never saw anything in his personal life with him and his wife or his social life or anything like that. And you know what? I think that takes a toll. Um, Tampa Bay, I think, wins this game. I mean, they're just a better team than Atlanta all around, but I think they win it. Um, I'm going to say uh, 20-13. Tampa Bay wins, but I think you take Atlanta with the 10 points. The Chargers go to Cleveland, and the Cleveland Browns are being the Cleveland Browns. Um, I think it's a no-brainer. Justin Herbert um, is playing very well after that injury. It's Cleveland getting 2.5. I think Cleveland wins big time. I think Cleveland wins. I'm sorry. I think the Chargers win 24-13. Even given the points, they win. Um, Monday night, Las Vegas Raiders go to Kansas City. The Raiders are getting 7.5. Arrowhead or whatever the name of that stadium is now is a great stadium, home field advantage stadium. Kansas City is very tough to beat there, but they are beatable. There have been times when Pat Mahomes has looked, beatable. He's looked human. Um, the Raiders got their first win last week. They're not that good of a team where they can, I think, um, play past Kansas City. What I mean play past is they can keep up with them for a quarter, maybe a half. But eventually, the Kansas City offense will beat you down. Will just make you make mistakes, and then force the Raider offense to try to go out there and make it all back in one play, and it's just not going to happen. So, Kansas City over the Raiders. I think the Kansas City wins. I think Kansas City covers, and I'm going to go Kansas City 26, and the Raiders 13. So go to our JETS Jets. They are getting 3 points at home, which means they are a 6 point underdog. Usually you get 3 points for being a home team. Um, so they're getting three. I should say, usually as a home team, you're giving three. They're getting three, so it's a 6 point swing. Um, I think that the odds makers, the betters, um, they're looking at the depth of Miami over the depth of the Jets, the offensive line issues that the Jets are having, um, the young quarterback compared to Teddy Bridgewater. Like, I don't know what this spread would be if Tua was in. Maybe it'd be a push, maybe even. But they have the Jets over Miami. I think the Jets win outright. I think the Jets are going to win this game. It's going to be a crisp 60-degree fall day on Sunday. Um, I think, even last week when they were in Pitt, um, the field was a little messed up from the rain over the weekend, but it was clear that day when the game started. Um, so I think Zach, all the elements are there for him to have a clean, crisp game if they keep him upright. And I think the Jets win this game. I'm going to go 23-17. Um, I don't think they need to come back to win this game late. I think, it won't be a blowaway. It won't be a blowout. But I think it comes down to, I'm saying it's 23-17. So obviously it's a one-score game. And I think it's the Jet defense that's on the field that that makes the final play, and gets the Giants gets the Jets the victory. I'm looking at the Giant highlights. So 23-17, the Jets will win this game, and I think they go to 3-2. So that's where we are. So, New York sports fans, tonight you have your Mets. Tomorrow you have your Mets. Sunday morning you have Giants in London. Sunday afternoon you have Jets home for Miami. If necessary, you got the Mets. I believe it's Sunday evening. I don't think they're doing an afternoon game locally. I'm not sure. But even if it's an afternoon game, there's no Giant game on at 4. The Jet game hopefully will be over by 4. And you can throw it on the radio if you're at the Jet game, or if you're home, you watch it. Monday is an off day. You have the Sunday night game, the Monday night game. Then Tuesday, you have your Yankees starting the divisional playoffs. You have the New York Rangers starting their 2022-2023 season. Thursday, you have, in addition to the MLB playoffs going on, and hopefully both local teams are in it, the Islanders starting. And then, you know what? The following week, we're already at the weekend again, and I hate to go forward. You have the Jets in Green Bay. And I don't know the Giants' schedule there, but, the next 10 days could really be a lot of fun here in New York. Could be a lot of misery, but could be a lot of fun. So I had the Jets going 1-3 the first 4 games. They're 2-2. I'm glad they proved me wrong. They beat Pittsburgh. I had them winning this game from the beginning of the season. So I had them at being at 2-3 at this point of the season. I don't want to see them at 2-3. I want to see them at 3-2. I don't want to be right again. I want to be proven wrong. Thank you for joining. We are the Takeoff. We are looking for your input. Give me some critique on this video. Tell me what you'd like to hear about. Tell me what you'd like me to provide. Pictures, other videos, anything to that matter. Tell me what you do on game day. Are you going to the game on Sunday? What is your game day ritual? What is your tailgate? What do you wear? Do you watch from home? And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your stories. Love to see your pictures. Love to see your videos. We want to make this as fan-friendly as possible. And that's it. So let's go Jets. Let's go local MLB teams that you root for. Let's go NHL teams. And let's see where we are Monday. Reach out to us. We are on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @TheJetsTakeOff. We are available by email at thejetstakeoff@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. We have a Facebook page called The Takeoff. And we are, of course, on YouTube, The Takeoff. You can Google that. You can actually Google my name, Alex Parziali. Subscribe to it. You'll get alerted, if you like, every time a new video goes up. The more people we have subscribed, the more content we can put in, and the more we can get this going. Love to hear from you. Love to make this grow. and just make this another part of the season. So have a great day. I'm going to put up our contact information right after this, and enjoy. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed weekend. A blessed weekend, whatever you say. A safe weekend. Stay healthy. Stay protected. Talk to you soon. Go Jets.